I am Tish Times, and I own the Tish Times Sales Agency. I'm the author of Networking is Not a One Night Stand. And I'm coming to you today because I have questions. I have questions because I'm talking about a topic today that people have big opinions on. And being in the world of sales myself, I even have big opinions on. And I want to hear from you. I want to know what your thoughts are about this. So I'm going to run down all the questions that I have right now. And these are only the questions that I have time for because I have lots more. But so, how is cold messaging impacting your business? And I'm asking it from the perspective of a sales professional as well as the person who's receiving messages, because it is a very common, very, I say newer way of communicating. There was a time, especially in LinkedIn, where the only messages you got in your inbox were from people who you used to work with, 5 years ago, and they were just kind of reaching out to say hi. Whereas now you have to search your inbox to get to those messages because, at least for me and most of the people that I speak with, their inboxes are overflowing with cold outreach sales messages. Am I right? Is it you? Are you seeing the same thing? Am I a target? Meaning, are they only targeting me? Or are they targeting you as well? And I say they very respectfully because I teach sales, and I know what the power of it could be. But I want to hear how you feel about it. How do you feel about doing it? I will tell you this: most of the clients that come on as a part of our sales intensive, our premium sales intensive, the majority of the clients, if there's any resistance that they come into our program with, it's that they don't want to do cold outreach. They are absolutely apprehensive, opposed to it, just don't feel comfortable doing it. And I get it, right? I'm not one of those people. Again, people think I'm an extrovert all the time. I am not. I definitely have that kind of like, oh, I don't want to touch the button, or I don't want to say send, or sometimes I don't even want to come on camera. So I get it. I understand it, but I understand the necessity for consistent outreach in your business. So let's talk about that. What does that consistent outreach look like? How should it look in your business? Okay, I said I was going to ask you all the questions first. So before I get deep, let me ask you the other questions. So, as a consumer, do you love it or do you hate it? Or do you not care? Some people are like, I can take it or leave it. Some of them are really good. Some of them are not. If I need it, I'll respond. Tell me that. Are you fully opposed to it? Are you kind of like neutral? Doesn't matter to you? And if so, why? Tell me why. Why is it that you hate it? Why is it that you're like, I don't really care? Okay, does it have a place? Does cold outreach, and when I say cold outreach, I mean in the inbox, in specifically LinkedIn, but also in Facebook or on Instagram, when someone doesn't know you, and does it have a place in business, and can we find a way to do it to where you won't be ignored and kind of placed in the same bucket with all of the other slimy salesy, and I quote that on purpose because some of that is a mindset, but all of the other slimy salesy sales folks that you just feel like, I don't want to deal with that. I'd love to hear from you and get a really good understanding of what you think about cold outreach on social media. How does it feel to you when someone messages you for the first time or connects with you for the first time, shall I say, and you get the friend request, or you accept their connection on LinkedIn, or you follow them, or they follow you and you follow them back on Instagram, and the very next interaction is, hey, I'd love to sell you something, or I'd love to hear about how you do blah, 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 opposed to, hey, tell me a little bit more about yourself. And I say it that way because I want to drive home the point, and I will tell you there's lots of thoughts about this. Some of you all may differ completely, and I want to hear from you also. But I feel like there is a way to connect with someone in a way that feels genuine to them and to you. And I think that's so important. And if I had to say there's a way to message or connect with someone in a way that feels more sincere, more authentic, then it's be that, yes, if you're in sales, the possibility or the likelihood is you might be connecting with people online because you want to do business with them. I do it. I know this to be a fact. But if we're coming from a perspective of, I say, love the sales more than the money. And let me preface with this. That just means I am so in love with what I do that I am on a mission to help you reach your solution. Therefore, I'm going to get paid for what I do, and that's a great thing. I'm not opposed to anybody getting paid for what they do, but my primary goal, my primary concern is to help you get to your solution. That makes me so happy. That's why I say helping people to fall in love with sales, because it comes from a very different place. Therefore, you should, I believe, come to the conversation in person or online from that place of being a solution provider, not being that salesy, slimy person that nobody really wants to deal with. So I would just say this. I would offer this, invite you to consider this if this is something that you do within your business, especially if this is not your jam, right? There's a lot of salespeople. I see some people that are masters, and I'm like, do it, girl. I see you. You're doing a great job, right? But there are so many others that are like, I have to sell. I don't want to. So I would just say, consider the person and not just the dollar, because when, and I know, because again, I some of these things I've done because I learned through the doing. So we were using an outreach tool that just, they kind of isolated a certain group of people that we wanted to connect with, and did a massive outreach to a lot of people, and we got clients through it. So it definitely worked, but it worked en masse. So we would send out hundreds, if not thousands, of messages, and get a few people to respond. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not slapping anybody's hand and saying don't do that. But what I am saying is that over time, as I begin to see how it was working, and then how it was not working, or how it was reaching out to people that really didn't fall into that category, and connecting with people that probably weren't a part of my ideal client profile, or reaching out to people that I've known for years and connecting with them, I just kind of pulled back on it a little bit and decided it probably isn't the best thing for me. I prefer organic, sincere sales approach, because I just believe that when someone hears from you, they should hear from you. And so, again, no disrespect if that's the method that you're using, and if it's working for you, then that's definitely a decision. I just have just chosen for my business that's not the approach that I want to take anymore, because it just doesn't feel genuine to me or to them, and that's the important thing. Who cares if it feels authentic to you all day if the person receiving the message, they feel slimy and they feel sold to. So I think we got to dial it back and kind of consider, what are we here for, right? Are we here for the people, or are we only here for the money? And again, I've learned this through experience. So please don't look at me and say, well, you used to do it. Yes, I'm telling you, I've done it before and I've taught it before. And I've decided, you know what, that's just not the method that I believe works well. The other part of this that I want to share with you is this. If you're sending out cold messages, considering the person, then every part of your message should not be I. If you were to walk up to someone and begin a conversation in wherever space you might be, um, and say, hi, I am, and I love, and I do, and I want to, and I prefer, and do you think they would continue to stand there and listen to you while you go on and on and on about yourself? Or would it be a better encounter if you ask the person, hey, tell me about yourself. What made you come to this event? What are your goals? What are you really like excited about right now? What are the things that are really working well for you? And let them tell you about themselves. Do you think they would be more excited about having that conversation, or the aforementioned conversation, right? So when you're in others' inboxes and doing cold outreach to people who don't know you or don't know you well, consider how you would walk up to someone and have a conversation, and keep that in mind. Some of the other things that some of them I see doing really well, like I said, is the method where we reach out to someone based on something we've seen about their profile. I would just caution us to keep it from that sincere place. So I'm not going to look at someone's LinkedIn profile and say, "Hey Jane, I love how you wrote about blah 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 blah," if I don't really care about that thing, right? So if I'm making that kind of a connection, then it needs to be something for me personally. It's like, I love how you spoke about confidence and how it really impacts the sales conversation, because that's something I'm personally passionate about. And so it's real for me and it doesn't come across as scripted and weird and robotic. So keeping those things in mind, again, this is a much bigger, much longer conversation, and we will be having more of those. And I'll be inviting some of my other business colleagues to have this conversation with me on future broadcasts. But this is something that's just been on my heart lately. I've gotten so many messages in my inboxes and emails from people that I don't know. And again, kudos for the confidence to even put yourself out there. But if you're going to put yourself out there well. Do it in a way to where people can't ignore you. They want to know more, and you can actually have an offline conversation with them because you have cause them to kind of lean in and say, "Hey, I want to know more." So, is it right? Is it wrong? I guess it's dependent upon who's answering the question. But I will just say, for those of you all who are in that place of, I don't really love sales, but I know I need to do this, then consider some of the things that we've talked about today. If you have questions, look, I am so serious. I would love to talk to you about this. So if you'd like to jump on a call and just say, "Hey, let's talk through what are some of the best ways to do warm and cold outreach in order to really get good new, prospective clients in my pipeline, and really make it worth their while and worth my while, and really make it a profitable effort opposed to one that you hate. You don't want to do it, right? And they hate receiving them. Let's jump on a call and talk about it, because it is something I'm super excited about, super passionate about right now, and I'd love to have that conversation. So I invite you to jump on a call. Just go to tishtimes.com/, um, calendar, or even go to Book with Tish. Forget that. Go to bookwithtish.com, and you can jump on my calendar and we can have a quick conversation and talk about better ways to generate leads for your business that don't feel icky, slimy, salesy, or otherwise. I am Tish Times. I'll talk to you later. I know this is a little bit long, but look, this is a conversation that needs to be had. I'll see you soon.